Welcome into Puck Chat. Oh, why is it not? Welcome in to a Thursday edition of Puck Chat.
Hello, hello.
Did it read you?
I don't know. I can't see it from over here.
Talk again.
Testing.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. We got a new setup here at WMCB The Fuse. We got two mics, active and ready again. Connor's to my right, talking into his own personal microphone. Hopefully, for the time being and moving forward, you will not hear the annoying swing of a microphone.
The screechy mic.
So that's
huge. Oh!
Wow, I hope you guys both heard that at the same time. All right, enough clowning around. We have a ton of news to get to today as the trade deadline continues to crawl and walk and sprint closer to us. We are about 5 days away now. March 1st, Connor.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm really excited, looking forward to it. I think there's going to be a lot of good moves, crazy moves that are going to be happening. I'm hoping that, it's one of those times of the year that, you always look forward to. I mean, you got to hate it sometimes as a player. It's got to be a little, of a hassle moving around, but from the fan perspective, it's fun to see, guys or teams going out there making moves, trying to make themselves better or sell, but still just looking forward to it.
That reminds me of a funny story I heard maybe a week or so ago, just scrolling through Twitter. It involves baseball, as it normally does with me, but I'll keep it brief on the other sport. Did you see that Andrew McCutchen was interviewed right before the start of spring training, and he said, honestly, with all the trade rumors swirling around me in the offseason, he was actually Googling his name?
Yeah, he put out a very, very good article on the Players Tribune. I read that. Very well written by Andrew McCutchen. I mean, that's just got to be scary.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
it's got to be a lot as a player. It's got to be a sense of insecurity. Because they're not even always 100% in the loop about what's actually going on in the front office.
Yeah, half the time, the first time you hear it, it could be on Twitter now with
right.
how our media is today. The first time you hear about yourself being traded, it could be on Twitter. So that's kind of a scary thought, but definitely.
Well, before we jump into the whole pomp and circumstance of the deadline, there was an extension today out of St. Louis for Patrick Berglund. I know you have some thoughts on this, but Berglund and the Blues agreed to a 5-year extension that was announced today. The $19.25 million deal will give Berglund some security up until 2021-2022. Average annual value of the salary is $3.85 million. Connor, I know you have some thoughts on that before I jump into Berglund's stats. How do you feel about the monetary
Well, I'm going to go off just briefly on the stats this year. I mean, he has 24 points in 60 games played. I mean, in my opinion, St. Louis is already a team. I mean, they're trying to get rid of Kevin Shattenkirk because they're not going to be able to afford him next year. So to go out and give a guy like Berglund almost $4 million a year, I mean, I think that's a little bit too much for a player like Berglund, just in my opinion. I mean, I think it's too long for him. I think it's too much money. But I don't know. Only time will tell if it's going to be a good move or not. So
he is 28 as well. So this is going to cover him a little bit past his prime in his hockey career. Yeah. He's going to be under contract until about his age 33
and that's the
season.
thing. That's also what I forgot to remember. I mean, career, I'm going to take your stats portion from this. He has 286 points, 145 goals, 141 assists, and 656 regular season games played. I mean,
so less than half a point a game.
Yeah, it's nothing crazy to be making almost $4 million a year. I mean,
but still,
I still think that's a little bit too much money. Especially, I mean, the guy's in his prime right now. I mean, he'll be a 20-goal scorer, but I think $4 million just for a guy to put up, I say he'll maybe get 35, 40 points by the end of the year. I think that's just a little bit too much money. I probably would have paid him around the high 2s, low 3s.
Well, he did have a nice, coming out party last year in the playoffs. He played 20 games for St. Louis as they tried to make their way to the Cup. They actually were defeated by San Jose in the Western Conference Finals. He had 9 points in 20 playoff games. That must have merit.
Yeah,
it's not an eye-popping stat, but it wasn't like he wasn't contributing.
It's experience. It's experience in the playoffs, and that's something that can really help towards St. Louis again if they do make the playoffs, because most of that team will have playoff experience. I mean, for the younger guys or some of the guys that weren't there last year, I mean, it'll help a lot. But
so congratulations to Berglund and the Blues as they strike a deal. He's got some safety and security for him for the next 5 years to come. Speaking of the Blues, as we've alluded to many times over the last few weeks with all the rumors swirling around St. Louis and their star defenseman Kevin Shattenkirk.
This is crazy. I don't even know where you're going. This is unreal.
Yeah, news broke today about a potential deal with an unnamed team in which the defenseman Shattenkirk actually turned down as far back as 6 weeks ago. So there's been tons of intrigue and tons of interest as we expected. But you're talking, that's the start of the new year.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
it's not. Yeah, it's like mid-January.
Yeah. I actually read the article too, and they say that the team, because nobody has really confirmed the team, but everybody that they're going out and guessing and having a good idea of who it was the team that's been tossed around is Tampa Bay. Which also, in my mind, I'm really confused. I understand it was still maybe over a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago. But still, Tampa Bay really wasn't contending at all in the last 2 months for a playoff spot.
They've gotten hot.
They
still have a ways
hot,
to go, but they're not in the cellar
I still don't
anymore.
think Kevin Shattenkirk would have been the answer for a playoff.
I
which I think
agree
that's a
with you.
very, very weird trade right there for Kevin Shattenkirk to be going over to Tampa Bay when I think right now they need more offense than defense. I mean, they're dealing without Stamkos. That's a huge loss. All that offense being put on the shoulders of Nikita Kucherov. I mean, he's having an outstanding year, but still, that's all that offense is built around. So, I mean, just basically what I'm saying is, like, if I'm Tampa Bay, I'll be going out looking for offense, not defense.
Do you want to hear the craziest part of this news? Not only was there a potential suitor, and this definitely was not the only news, not the only team interested in Shattenkirk, but the one deal that he shot down that has been made public was also guaranteeing him 7 years and $42 million.
Yeah, that's a lot of money to be turned down.
After a trade.
Crazy contract. So yeah,
immediately after a trade. I mean, this is all from TSN's Bob McKenzie.
Yeah, and that's also what's going to kill St. Louis because, I mean, you got to imagine they're probably getting a pretty good deal in exchange for that.
Probably 2-3 prospects, and if at the least a very high draft pick.
Yes, and that's just that shows the league now that Shattenkirk only wants to be basically a rental player and sign a long-term deal after the season's end. So that's going to bring down his trade value, and that's what's going to kill St. Louis. So they got to be, scratching their heads and wondering what the heck are we going to do with Kevin Shattenkirk if we're not going to be getting enough in exchange.
Why do you think he's being so difficult? Not difficult, but yeah, I guess. Why do you think he's making this so difficult on the St. Louis Blues organization?
My only thought is he's unhappy with what has been going on. He got his spot taken over basically by Colton Parayko. His name has been tossed around on the block for the last couple of months now. My only opinion is maybe he's just unhappy and just wants to give St. Louis hell. I don't know. That's to know that team is trying to dish you off. You would have gotten a pretty penny by getting traded
immediately.
Yeah, that confuses me a lot. I don't have an answer for that one.
Well, we got 5 days to figure out whether he's wearing the black, gold, and blue.
Yeah.
Come March 2nd, and he's going to be vital to their playoff push. Honestly, if they keep him.
Yeah.
And he plays with potential.
He's still a top 4 defenseman.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of moving parts down in St. Louis. Whether he stays, whether he goes, is really going to determine how they sort of organize and coach the rest of their what's remaining 22, 23 games for the Blues. Are the New York Islanders getting a new crib or what?
Oh,
this is a interesting story. I did a little bit.
Yeah, I had this update like an hour and a half ago, not even.
I had no choice but to do research because there's so many
news.
Big words, so many big organizations involved.
Including the New York Rangers, too.
Yeah, who's always been seen as one of their rivals, especially in the area.
Odd.
So, a quote, super group of New York sports executives, including the likes of both the New York Rangers and the New York Mets owners, are lining up to invest in a new arena outside of Queens and New York for the Islanders to call their new home. So we all know the story and the speculations and the circumstances around their current home, the Barclays Center, in which the Islanders share with the Brooklyn Nets. That place is looking to drop the Islanders after 2018, 2019, and potentially even sooner, because they just don't see it as worth it anymore to be hosting a hockey team. Which I can't blame them for, because even from just watching the Islanders on TV, if Philly or Buffalo ever travels to Queens, just even the look from a TV, it's not a pretty arena.
It's not a nice arena for hockey. I mean, you see,
it's boring.
Oh yeah, and it's just looking at it on TV. You got that huge open area right behind the boards, over by the half boards.
Yeah,
I mean, you can barely even get front row seats on the glass at that place. I mean, that's like every NHL. That's like every fan's like bucket list is to get at least one time of you sitting right on the boards. And it's the best when you're right by the net, no matter if it's the corner or that's tough. I mean, I would love to see the Islanders go somewhere else. I think they're definitely building their stock right now. We're going to talk about them later, but they're definitely building their stock right now for potential suitors because they are hot right now. very hot on the island. And
out of nowhere.
Yeah, out of nowhere. We talked about this about a month or two ago. They were dead last in the East. So.
Yeah, so the new arena proposal, there's a lot of big companies I'm about to throw at you. I'm going to try and wrap it up the best I can.
I haven't heard this yet, so I'm going to be a little...
Yeah. So the new arena proposal includes a joint venture between the Islanders, the Oakview Group, which is a group specializing in arena and stadium alliance, consulting, sponsorships, and partnerships, and the Sterling Project Development, which is a real estate advisory firm providing projects and development management services for developers, end users, and due diligence / strategic advisory services for investors. Pretty high-end stuff that's going into this.
So is that 4 total organizations you just named off? The Rangers, the Mets, the Arena, and then the estate people?
Yeah, and there's more.
There's more. You're not done yet?
No, I'm not done yet.
Okay.
James Dolan, who's the executive chairman of the Madison Square Garden MSG Company, he also oversees the day-to-day operations of the teams in the umbrella of the corporation, which includes the New York Knicks, the said Rangers, and the soccer team, the New York Liberty.
Wow.
He's also involved because he invests in the Oakview Group, who's a prime candidate to head this.
Yeah, that's...
As well as Fred Wilpon, the chairman, co-founder, and senior partner of Sterling Equities, which oversees the Sterling Project Development. He and his family control the said development. So the amount of money, the amount of financial smarts and support in this operation moving forward, it's so well funded, it's so well backed, and it's in very good financial hands. To me, it's just a matter of execution and how they want to go about this. I think this is completely in the hands of both Barclays Center and the Islanders now in terms of who chooses to terminate or who chooses to opt out of the agreement they have that expires in about a year and a half, and when this is all going to go on forward, when we're going to just set this train on the tracks. Because the people and the names and the prestige in the New York area that are lining up to help get the Islanders a new place where they can call home, that people are actually excited to go to. Unbelievable right now what they have in their corner. Can you even make anything of that right now?
I'm just trying to think that if all these people from the New York area, I mean, we talked about earlier how a couple weeks ago, how the Connecticut governor...
yeah, that's another thing. What's this going to mean for the Whalers?
Yeah, wanted to bring back basically the Whalers. But if you got all those guys in New York, they are very, very devoted on keeping the Islanders in the New York area. So, and it was really weird that this is getting brought up because in my sports class today when we were talking about relocation, I thought about it hard for one of the very first times ever because of being such a strong hockey fan and loving Buffalo hockey. I would be heartbroken and just dead inside if the Sabres ever left Buffalo. I wouldn't know what to do with my life. I wouldn't know what to do. So I think with such a large market in New York as well that, I mean, like you said, the Rangers are seen as rivals. Who are the people that were Islanders fans that root for now? So if all these people in New York are really trying to keep them around New York, I think this is going to happen. You got 6 different organizations trying to fund this new arena. It's just... where in New York and when's it going to happen? I think that's going to be the question now because I see this happening, especially with the agreement with Barclays Center.
Well, our teammate Frank was telling us a couple weeks ago that he's heard since the summer that there was plans to, and I'm paraphrasing this very hard. I may be incorrect, but I know it was something along the lines of breaking down one of the Mets parking lots, putting the parking lot like across the street, getting rid of an unused building, something around the Queens area, more near Flushing, where the Mets play, and putting the Islanders effectively across the street from the Mets, almost like a Broad Street complex where you got the Wells Fargo and the Lincoln Financial and Citizens Bank all in one consolidated area. Something like that in Flushing where you can go to the Islanders one night and maybe the Mets another time, maybe in the late fall or some early. It's gonna be something they're going to have to deal with, and they're going to have to plan it out very strategically because those overlap months where the Islanders are finishing up and the Mets seasons is starting and then vice versa come September, October, it's going to be busy if you opt to go that route in terms of traffic and all that. So you have to make sure that is done very correctly. So there's probably three potential plans. You could do that. You could do wherever this group of, financial juggernauts wants to put the Islanders, or worst case scenario right now, as it sounds, because of the fan base, you jump ship to Hartford.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting story to follow in the coming months.
So many fun things coming out. We talked about Arizona already, about relocation. Carolina at one point. The Islanders. It's completely overshadowing that we're getting a new team next year.
I know, the Golden Knights are almost lost. It's like old news back in June when they had the draft.
And,
whatever.
They did come out and say that they're not going to go at the deadline. They're not going to be doing any moves at the deadline, because this is a really weird story. They were supposed to make their last payment, and I think it said, the article I read, they were late on their last payment to get the team. So they can't make moves at the deadline because they didn't make that last payment.
Or
the last payment isn't due until after the deadline. Or they didn't want to pay it early. Or something crazy like that. It was something weird.
Just go figure.
Yeah. So.
All right, so I think that's a good segment to end on. Our first break is going to be upcoming.
Hold on.
Oh, you got more.
I want to go into, real quick, what in the world has happened since we last talked. So, about to go rapid fire.
All right, hit me.
Here we go. Toronto took over third spot in the Atlantic. Montreal has no more cushion for the top spot in the Atlantic. They are now only 2 points ahead of Ottawa, and that Atlantic division is getting closer and closer and closer. Columbus got bumped down to a wild card spot, and we talked about how great they have been. The Rangers have taken over third spot in the Metro. The Islanders are in the second wild card spot. Florida's only 2 points out after holding a division spot the other day, and Winnipeg and LA are 2 points out of a wild card.
What is the most shocking headline that you just read? I know you're fired off.
It's
like
a
seven
very,
right there.
very close tie between Columbus being bumped down to a wild card spot and the Rangers, or not the Rangers, I'm sorry, the Islanders taking that second wild card spot right now. Or even Winnipeg and LA only being 2 points out.
I think Winnipeg and LA is more.
Well, LA has been floating around there, but Winnipeg was out for a little bit. But I looked at, I'm running over one of our segments for later, Winnipeg hasn't even been that hot recently. So
They're sneaky.
They're very sneaky. They're just, I don't even know. It's very, very...
They're getting just enough goaltending.
I guess so.
The offense is on fire. They're doing it without Trouba, who actually is still serving a suspension as far as I believe.
Oh my god, I wrote it down wrong. Winnipeg and LA are 4 points out, not 2 points out. Wow, that's a huge...
Even still.
That's a huge mistake for Connor.
Even still, it's okay.
It's a bad day for the boys.
I still think that is more of a story at this point in the season than Columbus, because we've seen Columbus decline since the win streak.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say it was inevitable that they were going to lose the spot, but it doesn't shock me as much.
I think, again, like we talked about weeks prior, this just shows that they need to go out and really got to do something with the deadline. Everybody that's on the trade block, I would be fully willing to give up prospects even. Maybe not top prospects, but I mean,
get a role guy.
Yeah, organizations always had a decent depth of prospects. I mean, whether, it's guys that you think are already good or guys that have already progressed and you're just waiting a year or two to bring up. But, there's got to be something in that organization that will please other organizations for young guys, even draft picks you can sacrifice, or even depth guys on the team just to get, like you said, even just to get even another role player back that would help that team out. But
somebody who's been there before.
Yes.
As cliche as that sounds, get somebody who knows the burdens and trials
I'm
and
going to
tribulations.
look at the last time the Columbus was actually in the playoffs. Hold on.
I think it was recent. Are we going stat time?
Yeah, hold on. Oh, God.
Was it during the Tortorella reign?
I had to imagine.
No, it couldn't have been.
Hold on. 13-14.
So, yeah.
They finished 7th in the conference. Made the playoffs.
How far did they go?
They lost in the first round of the Penguins 4-2.
Trying to think
And
if I
then
remember
before that,
series.
the last time that they made the playoffs was in 08-09. Again, they finished 7th.
Who would have been on that
in the
13-14 team? Because I feel like they've had a total turnover. I'm not even sure if Atkinson might have been there as a rookie. I can't even remember. Hartnell might have gotten there in 14-15. How long's Hartnell been out of Philly? I need you to pull up that roster. I want to see if there's any overhauls from
right now.
2016-17. Brainstorming here on Puck Chat.
Quick stats. Let's see. Artem Anisimov, Cam Atkinson, Cody Bass, Sergei Bobrovsky, Jared Bull, Matt Calvert, Michael Chaput, Sean Collins, Blake Como, Ryan Craig, Brandon Dubinsky, Nick Foligno. Almost the same team, but they did have Marian Gaborik when he was in that very weird slump.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Nathan Horton, Boone Jenner, Ryan Johansson, Jack Johnson, Michael Testu, Curtis Michelini, Mike McKenna, Derek McKenzie, Ryan Murray, Nikita Nikitin, Dalton Prout, David Savard, Nick Schultz, Jack Skill, Corey Tropp, Fedor Tutin, RJ Umberger, James Wisniewski. Ryan Johansson was the leading scorer that year with 63 points. 33 goal scorer as well. Yeah.
That's really where he was? Before Nashville?
Yeah.
Wow, I had a different team in mind.
They made the, Oh, no, I'm thinking of the wrong thing. No, wait.
No, he wasn't.
Hold on a minute. I'm having a huge brain fart. Let's go to a break so I can
We're going to come back with the Johansson.
I'm having a huge brain fart.
All right, when we come back, we will figure out Ryan Johansson's career history, and we will jump right into one of our favorite segments in any sport. It's the trade deadline rumors.
Seth Jones. That's why. Ryan Johansson for Seth Jones.
Johansson for Jones?
Yeah, that was the trade that was made.
Yes. Okay, yep.
I don't know why, for some reason, I was thinking Seth Jones wasn't on Columbus anymore. That's where I was brain farting.
All right, good. So now we don't have to go to that.
I don't even have to look that up.
All right, I'm proud of you.
All right.
We'll be back in a couple minutes. Beverly Hills.
Good. That's real good.
No, that's where you want to be.
Oh.
Come on, man.
Really?
Hey, deadline time.
Deadline time. Buck chat's back.
Buck chat's back.
There it is.
All
Trade
right.
buzz. Let's get it going here.
All right. All right, I got this for you. Ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a quote, and you're going to finish it with the player.
Okay.
Pittsburgh Penguins GM Jim Rutherford was quoted as this: "I'm going to say what I've said all along. I prefer to keep him." Who is him?
Fleury.
Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah.
Are you even paying attention to the NHL news?
Oh, no.
No?
Yes. But we're going to talk about Pittsburgh real quick. Actually, did you want to talk about Fleury first?
Sure.
All right, you can talk about Fleury first.
Yes. The him was indeed goaltender Marc-Andre Fleury. The reason that Jim Rutherford wants to keep Fleury in town in the next 5 days is because the Penguins value their depth in the goaltending position in the upcoming playoffs. Yep. First off, can you fault them?
No, I can't, because they've been dealing with... Fleury was in and out last year. Murray has already been hurt this year. So I did read that article that when they interviewed him, that, it is smart, but you could also get a decent exchange back for Fleury if you did trade him, and that would make Pittsburgh that much better, which is really scary, because Matt Murray could be a number one, but they're splitting time right now. So, either way, it's a win-win for them. Because if one of them gets hurt, you still have a number one goalie.
Yeah, and that's one of my next points, alluding back to Rutherford. They're willing to ride out the remaining 2 years on the goalie's contract, at least for now. Who knows what the offseason and next year will bring, but at least for the next month or so, they're going to ride out Fleury's money.
But then, here's the thing that also I think that they should also take into consideration that I just thought about. I was thinking about earlier, but then I completely forgot to bring it up. I would deal Fleury, because they're going to protect most likely Matt Murray, and Fleury's going to get picked up at the expansion draft. If he does not get picked up at the expansion draft, I will be really, really shocked.
Another thing to worry about. You see what happens with all these relocation ideas? We forget about the expansion draft and the Golden Knights. That's a very good point.
I would go out, but then that's also another thing. Because teams that necessarily maybe what am I looking for? Unless Fleury would be the number one.
Desperate?
Yeah.
Team is desperate for a goaltender.
Because then he's still unprotected somewhere else. So that's what also kind of brings down his trade.
So if you're going to find a perfect trade partner, it's got to be somebody that's going to be willing to A, take on his money, B, make him a starting goaltender, and then C, have the confidence in him to protect him that into his age, 30 and beyond seasons, he will still be effective. Mm-hmm. So it's got to be legitimately the perfect trade partner in the next 5 days for it to be worth it on both ends. Something to think about.
Yeah.
Another thing to keep thinking about is that Murray continues to trend upward at age 22.
Yeah.
What is his career path looking like right now? He is something else, huh?
A lot of cups in Pittsburgh.
He is something else. That Metro is no joke.
Very, very scary to think about. Matt Murray's only 22 and has already won a Stanley Cup and could be on his way to another one. So that's a scary thought to think that man's only 22 years old.
Unbelievable stuff out of Pittsburgh.
You're older than you and already has a cup under his belt.
Thanks, Connor. I have a cup in my dorm. I have 3 cups in my dorm, and we drink coffee out of them.
We do drink coffee.
Coffee?
Coffee.
So Rutherford was quoted to sort of wrap up the Fleury talk as what you alluded to earlier, and what's always inevitable and sort of never really, it's something you always have to have a backup plan for, is the fact that the Penguins have a backloaded schedule. They're going to be playing a lot of games throughout the month of March, and Rutherford said you simply don't know when players are going to get hurt. So to have that depth in a position so vital to a team's success, it does make sense to keep Fleury around because you know his track record. The city still loves him, as bad as he can look sometimes. But he still is considered, if not elite, probably second tier at this point. He's got his predecessor working with him every other game, so it's a great goaltender to learn from if you're Matt Murray.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 2 schools of thought. There's your school of thought where you got to think ahead of the expansion draft where you may lose him anyway. But there's the other school of thought where not only does his ability make sense to keep him in town with his contract, he's going to be a great mentor to a guy that you expect to have anchoring the pipes for Pittsburgh for the majority of his career in Matt Murray, because there's a lot to buy into.
Yeah, because that's 22-year-old also the thing.
stock.
I mean, would you rather keep Fleury for the playoffs and for the rest of the year in case Matt Murray does get hurt, and then let him leave town for nothing, or trade him for something better and get something in exchange instead of just letting him walk for free? That's my point of view of it, but I do think it is smart to have 2 number ones. I understand that point, and I'm not going to go off on a rant about GM Rutherford wanting to keep 2 number ones because it is a good strategy, but like I said, you could get a lot in return for that. But still on Pittsburgh, another common theme besides winning all year for them is their injury-prone defenseman. Trevor Daley will now be out 6 weeks for the Pens, and Letang also back on the injury chart. He is day-to-day with an upper body injury. And Rutherford is eyeing a D-man at the deadline.
Yeah, the further I looked into the goaltending story and the more I read into it, I just kept realizing that I think the Pens do have bigger problems on their hands than who's going to start who's going to start at goalie every night.
You lost basically your top 3 defensemen right there.
Well, Daley,
Letang, and Olli Mata all gone.
Yeah, Daley is fresh. Is a fresh surgery. He's going to be out 6 weeks, and Olli Mata is just past week 1 of his surgery. He had that hand surgery back on the 17th. So you're talking more than a month's worth of missed games from a grizzled veteran who's been in the playoffs before with you and Daley, and a guy who was on the rise, who was just like Matt Murray, winning a cup at age 21 on the defensive end. And Letang, it's either his 3rd or 4th stint, either being day-to-day or completely on IR this year.
Absolutely heartbreaking to my fantasy team. I keep saying it every single time.
They are making depth moves. They did trade for Carolina's defenseman Ron Hainsey. I don't think it's enough in my eyes.
No.
Which is why they're still very active, and they should be, on the open market. They need to find a couple more complementary pieces so they can right this ship until until their stars are back. It's one of those days, huh?
It's one of those moments where you forget you're
actually on the air. You're just burping into mics into people's ears.
My apologies.
He's getting all red. You can't even see him. No, but Hainsey is definitely not enough. You got 3 guys. You got 2.5 guys if you count Letang. Letang who's healthy, and then Letang who's not. And you got Daley and Mata recovering from surgeries. There's a lot more moves that this team needs to make because we saw the corresponding moves. I know one of which off the top of my head was Steve Alexi, at 31 years old, going to be another, third-line D-man. He can throw the body around, but it just doesn't seem enough for Pittsburgh. And, when we get into other teams, you're going to notice that there's probably going to be a theme in which you can never have enough defense and goaltending going to the playoffs. And if you're Pittsburgh, I think you got to see that writing on the wall and try and find a trade partner in the next 5 days, so you're not riding in with the likes of Alexei and Hainsey because they're just not proven and they're not as good as what you had coming into the season.
Imagine if they got Shattenkirk.
That's
completely
not
unlikely. Wow, it was just a rough one for me today. If they got Shattenkirk, that would be unreal. Very unlikely. I doubt Pittsburgh has the cap for it. You got to think they're paying Fleury.
Crosby.
Murray's probably still on an entry-level contract.
Yes.
Yeah, and then Crosby, Malkin, Kessel, continued, and company.
Letang.
Yep.
Fleury. Yeah. You might have said you think he's led off with Fleury.
I did lead off with Fleury. Now over to basically their counterpart in the Metro, the Washington Capitals. Interesting kind of little tidbit of information here. It's kind of fun. GM Brian McClellan of the Washington Capitals gets input from Ovi and Nick Backstrom at the deadline. He asked them who or what that they think that they should do at the deadline. And he came out and said that I think he said that Ovi was more the guy that was like, yeah, go out and do this, go out and do that, get him. And Backstrom's more of like that, no, we really need to think about this type of guy. So it was very funny, but this year they did say that they all agree that they don't really want to fix what's not broken. But the GM is still quietly exploring opportunities. And he also said this is the most complete team that we've had since the Ovi era began in 05-06.
That's really funny. That's exactly how I would picture Ovi and Backstrom.
Yep.
Sitting in a boardroom with like their front office. Like Ovi's like, yeah, get him. Check. Go. He's like the jumpstart go-getter. And Backstrom's like, dude.
Relax.
Chill.
Relax.
That's totally how I picture their personalities, and it's very funny that that's actually the way it rolls.
And all of these, by the way, we got from an article on NHL.com. Now another interesting one. We talked about the Islanders earlier. The Islanders long had interest in Matt Duchene. This is what really threw me a curveball, because all the teams really talked about for Matt Duchene never really threw in the Islanders into the mix. So imagine what that top line would be. I mean, I know they're both centers, but they would probably find a way to convert one of them to wing. Tavares and Duchene on the same line, or just say the power play. That's unreal. Those are two really skilled hockey players.
And 3 weeks ago, you would say, why in the world are the Islanders interested in Duchene? But I think if you're Duchene and you hear that a team like the Islanders, who has so much on the rise right now, I think it would be one of those go-get-'em sort of moments. Duchene would be fired up. That team's on the rise. He's only going to make it better in a perfect world. That would be quite the complimentary piece to the likes of Tavares and the young guys in Strome.
Anders Lee, I think, is already a 20-goal scorer.
Anders Lee has like 24, 25 goals. Yeah.
That's something.
Sneaky. Very sneaky.
Two more little bits here. Calgary now, we're going to move on to them. Talked about this. They need goaltending. Another article I read about how potentially Fleury or Bishop would be good pieces moved over to Calgary. We talked about Ben Bishop before, how he's in the last year of his contract, and they're giving basically that starting job over to Andrei Vasilevsky. I mean, the thing is here, Calgary is just a little below $3 million in cap space. They are trying to get rid of Dennis Wideman, and Wideman basically said that he doesn't want to be on a team that doesn't want him. So there's a team out there that's willing to trade for him. He would love to go there. So that's a little interesting. And he has a 5.25 cap hit. Like I said, he's open to being traded. So if they could get rid of Wideman, don't count out Calgary going out there to go get a big goaltender. And one of my huge sleepers.
Oh boy,
I mentioned this earlier. Yaroslav Halak. Don't forget about this man just because
he stunk.
New York gave him the cold shoulder. In the NHL right now, he's 13-1-1. Granted, he should be doing this because he was a starting goaltender in the NHL at one point. But in the AHL, he's 13-1-1 with a 1.96 goals against average and 931 save percentage. He has playoff experience. Could he be moved?
Free up space in the Islanders' pocket.
It would free up space in the Islanders' pocket. Maybe help for, just if you get to the playoffs, need a guy that want to give your starter a rest.
Inspired.
Throw in Halak. Yeah. He has playoff experience.
He's going to play with a chip on his shoulder, too.
He will. He's going to be playing very inspired hockey if he gets in there and gets traded to a team that's willing to give him an NHL shot.
How about that? I have a couple pieces here for the Canadians.
Ooh.
What could they use? Couple. We're going to work our way up. I got 3 potential pieces.
By the way, they got shut out last night by the Islanders.
They did. You were telling me that.
Yep. Unreal.
So what can they use to help stop being shut out by the Islanders? First off, I think a lesser piece could be Brian Boyle from Tampa. He's in the final year of his contract, plus a $2 million cap hit would not be a burden at all. And at the most, it may cost Montreal a lesser prospect or a very low draft pick just for depth in the center position, the way Galchenyuk's been in and out of injuries this year with his knee problems. Secondly, they could actually turn to Buffalo.
What do you think?
For defenseman help. Franzen, Kulikov.
Franzen, yep.
That obviously would depend on how GM Tim Murray views the Sabres' chances in the final months of the season.
I'm very interested to see what Tim Murray's going to do. Because Tim Murray is really not afraid to go out there and make moves. That's the one thing I like about him. So if an opportunity opens up, I would not doubt that Tim Murray would jump on an opportunity like that.
Well, an opportunity like this would probably not concede the season, but the defense is already at an all-time low.
I think this bye week for the Sabres has really concluded their season.
Think so?
I think...
Are they back 6 now?
They're back, I think, 6. I mean, unless they come back from this break hot and get themselves within about 2 points of the wild card before the break, which I don't think, or before the deadline, I don't think that will happen. But I think, just so I don't do this rant later, I think the Sabres, they probably won't, I won't be surprised if they don't make any moves. I won't, because if they get off and start playing better hockey next year, hopefully everybody stays healthy, then they aren't that far away from playoffs with the team that they have right now. And especially with the way Evander Kane has been playing, I necessarily wouldn't trade him right now. Because if he does what he's doing right now next year early, then they're going to want to keep him. They're not going to want to trade him unless they're in an even worse spot than they are right now.
That's the catch-22 on a team that's been so hot and cold like the Sabres. You really got to make a tough decision with a guy like Kane who's finally playing like the Kane you traded for from Winnipeg.
Yes, and it's great to see. He turned himself into a 20-goal scorer within like 3 months.
It is, but don't you wish he turned into this like after the deadline or something like this so you didn't have this tough decision? Like, you know the state of the team moving forward, you definitely need him, but it's definitely in the back of the minds of the front office. It's like, hey, what are the possibilities right now? But you as a fan, and especially them as a team, it's vital for you to keep Kane as much as the possibilities could potentially be endless right now and what you could get in return, the way he's been playing the last 2-3 weeks. So therein lies, the toughness of when a guy gets hot, and he's been rumored to be, on the block when he was cold.
He's been rumored to be on the block ever since in the summer when he started getting in trouble again.
Yeah. So that's definitely interesting. And then my third one, he's been the topic of the entire show, but can you guess? For the Canadians? Yeah. All right. So we already rejected one offer. Was it Montreal? Could have been Montreal, but if it wasn't Montreal,
I don't think Montreal would have the money. See, that's also the other thing. I don't think if they said that Tampa was, Tampa wouldn't have that money either. They could barely pay Stamkos.
Well, here's my kicker. First off, how could Shattenkirk not love joining forces with Shea Weber?
That would be great. But terrible for any team in the Atlantic.
Yeah.
Hence, Sabres.
It would be an expensive trade, no doubt. But if it was possible to have happen, it would make Montreal by far one of the top contenders come playoff time. As we mentioned before, especially in Pittsburgh's case, you can never have enough depth and defense in the postseason. Of course, the cost of prospects will be high. The likes of maybe a Jacob De La Rose going back to St. Louis, along with maybe one or two others or a first-round pick in the future. But I think the extension talks could definitely be made easier too for these two teams if they so decide to and choose to not make Shattenkirk just a rental. Andrei Markov is 38, and his current contract right now is flirting with $6 million.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so if he chooses to retire at the end of the year and that cap space becomes freed up and they have Shattenkirk to discuss with, it seems like a no-brainer where the money they had for Markov would be going next. Yeah. And they can immediately rebuild the defense for Markov, who's a nice veteran. sort of a passing defenseman. He really gets the offense going. He has a ton of assists this year, even with an injury mixed in. But then you've immediately rebuilt the top line of your offense with the Weber trade and Shattenkirk.
Mm-hmm. Making them a lot more dangerous. And they're a team that I'm going to talk about in a little bit as well. But
it's something that
they're 1-1 under the reigns of Claude Julien. But yeah,
just crazy stuff.
Very crazy. Crazy time of the year right now for hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Very crazy. All right, we're going to go and do our second quick break. Give you a little sneak peek. We're going to talk about teams that are hot and cold and take it back to the future.
Wow.
With who we're going to predict is going to lead the league in certain categories at the end of the year. And we're going to preview the Stadium Series tomorrow. The Philadelphia Flyers and the Pittsburgh Penguins at Heinz Field.
I'll be watching highlights intently in between the basketball games. I'm pretty excited.
All right.
Really upset I won't be able to watch it, but
You should go and buy a Stadium Series jersey.
I think I'm going to.
You should.
Those are sick.
They're very, very slick.
All right, we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Puck Chat. If you're listening live, then you get a fun treat today. Breaking news out of Anaheim. The Ducks have just acquired forward Patrick Eaves from the Dallas Stars for a conditional second-round pick. Patrick Eaves has 37 points this season. He was a part of that Chicago Blackhawks team that made the Cup. I believe he was with them for 2 times when they made the Cup. So, big move for Anaheim, in my opinion. Brings a little bit more playoff experience into Anaheim. A little bit depth. He could probably be a second or third line guy in Anaheim. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're third in the division right now. So that's huge for Anaheim. This is the first really big move that has been made.
Live on the air, too.
Live on the air. So I'm hoping, and I know we're still a couple days away, that once that first big move gets made, and I think this clears it, this might open up the floodgates. So I'm very excited. Finally, we get some trades going.
Yeah, via Bob McKenzie on some more conditions of the trade. He says via Twitter, based on the draft position, Dallas will receive the middle pick of Ottawa, San Jose, or Toronto's second-round 2017 picks, per the conditions in which Anaheim acquired the pick from Toronto. So you remember that one night we were looking over past draft classes and we kept seeing like Pittsburgh via Toronto via Dallas. That's
what a conditional
That's why.
pick? Okay.
That's a conditional pick. So depending on how Ottawa, San Jose, or Toronto finishes, Dallas will get a shot at the middle team of those 3. So pretty interesting. Pretty interesting.
Like I said, I'm hoping this opens up the floodgates for more trades. This is very fun. We got to break it on the air.
Connor damn near jumped out of his chair. I was like, I'm announcing it. I want to announce it.
So we're going to talk about the teams that have been hot and cold over the last week or so. We're going to start off. I'm just going to go straight down the line with who I saw first. Oh, we're going to start with the New York Rangers, who have been hot. And this is just by their last 10 games. They are 8-1-1 in their last 10. And they have finally taken over a division spot in the Metro, pushing down Columbus down to the first wildcard spot. And don't sleep on New York, like I said. They have 80 points now, and Pittsburgh has 82, and they're the number 2 spot in the Metro. Washington has 87. I think they'll have that number 1 spot locked down, but anything can happen. I thought that Montreal was going to have that first spot locked down. I'm about to talk about them next. Montreal has been cold as ice, no pun intended. Their last 10, they are 2-7-1. They are now only 2 points above Ottawa, and they're 4 points above Toronto, who has the 3rd spot in the Atlantic right now.
Well, you and I were watching the highlights the other night of the Montreal-New York game that went overtime, and Lundqvist's sprawling save to preserve. You were mentioning how come overtime and come a shootout, the Rangers just can't lose.
Yeah, no, they can't. They have 1 overtime loss this year. Oh, no, I'm sorry, 2. When did that happen? Must have been recently.
So their forces...
Oh, yeah, it was recently.
Come the
they
extra
lost in
60
overtime
minutes.
the other day. Yeah, because before that, they only had 1 overtime loss. Last time we were talking about New York.
Wow. Yeah, they're definitely making some noise.
Yeah.
Lundqvist is sort of coming in his stride again. He's not having his early season woes
Yes.
anymore, which is huge for that team.
And then next, Columbus is cold. Even though in the last 10 they are 5-4-1, but they have been dropping and dropping. I'm pretty sure that they were even second in the Metro at one point. They have just been consistently dropping and dropping and dropping. Granted, they are still only a point behind New York, but it's not pushing them down to a wild card, and that'll make it for a tough matchup for the if they make playoffs, which I think they will because they're 11 points ahead of New York, who has the second wild card spot. So, still, it's going to make it for a tough matchup. It would have been a lot better for them if they had a division spot locked down. But
I'm just going to keep saying the same thing that I've said to Columbus the last 2 weeks. Just don't become another footnote.
Oh yeah, it's almost sad to see after they went on that crazy streak and almost broke the record for most games won in a row. But now they're sitting in the second wild card. Hate to see it, but like I said before, I think this needs to inspire them to go out and make a move at the deadline.
You know what it sounds like? Don't become the 2002 Oakland A's.
Wow.
Yes? No?
Moneyball.
20-game win streak, Moneyball. They're kind of doing it with a
Losing
lesser...
DS.
Yeah, they lost to the Twins.
Yep.
First round. Just don't become a team that works on a low budget. Shocks the world for nearly a month.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
They really are like the 2002 Oakland A's right now. Now we're going to move on to the red-hot New York Islanders. This actually gets me fired up. They were last in the East. We always talk about it. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They have now moved in to the second wild card, even though they're kind of tied, I think. I think that the reason why that they're technically in the second wild card spot because they have less games played than Boston, because Boston also has 68 points. But Boston's been hot too. They're also 7-3 in their last 10. So after getting rid of Claude Julien, it seems like they're doing a lot better now over there in Boston. So they're 7-3 in their last 10. Another fun team. I mean, most of these are all very fun. Because Florida, we almost counted them out a couple weeks ago and said that they needed to do something, but they've been picking it up. Florida is 8-2 in their last 10. They are 2 points out of the playoffs.
They had a perfect 5-0 road trip too.
Wow, yeah, that's huge.
So
Definitely huge to go out there and get some road wins in the National Hockey League. And then Chicago, I'm pretty sure they had their weird bye week. And when was it? I think it might have been last week. They had that weird bye. Not positive on that. Don't quote me. But they are 8-2 in their last 10. They're red hot right now as well. They are second in the Central, 3 points behind Minnesota, who has 84 points. Chicago with 81. St. Louis also hot, 7-3 in their last 10. But one of those losses came to Buffalo. Had to throw that out there. It's that game. Great game, by the way. They have 67 points. Huge gap in that Central Division. Like I said, Chicago has 81 points, and then it jumps down to St. Louis having 67. So, hold on a minute. 1 second. Yeah, you know what? St. Louis and Nashville both have 67 points. I don't know what makes for a tiebreaker now because they both have 60 games. It might be wins. St. Louis has more has more wins than Nashville. But moving on, San Jose. We talked about them being in a bumpy stretch. They are cold right now. They are 4-1-5 in their last 10. However, they still remain atop of the Pacific Division with 77 points. That division is getting closer and closer too because San Jose did have a huge edge on Edmonton at one point. And now there's only a 3-point difference between San Jose and Edmonton, who Edmonton is in the second spot in the Pacific. Anaheim, very recently acquiring Patrick Eaves. Edmonton and Anaheim are tied with 74 points. So that's going to make out to be a fun finish. I think the other day when we talked, I think I said Anaheim was going to jump up to the second spot.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, so Anaheim.
Are you sticking to that?
I'm going to stick to that.
Good.
It's really, I think it's a very under the radar, low key big move for Anaheim. I really like that move to Anaheim. That Anaheim just did.
They have a lot of right-hand shots.
Yeah, I really enjoy that move. Calgary, another one. It's not like DJ Khaled now. 7-2-1 in their last 10. Jumping up, getting into a wild card spot now. With a little bit of wiggle room. 4 points ahead of the Kings in Winnipeg. That's my mistake earlier. I thought there were 2, but they're 4 points.
Calgary could be dangerous.
Calgary could be very dangerous.
That young squad. Chad Johnson's upstart. I mean,
Monahan just got his 100th goal in the National Hockey League last night.
Dougie Hamilton's still very young, anchoring that defense.
Monahan, Mark Giordano. Veteran presence out there as well, Giordano. And then LA and Winnipeg both cold. LA is 4-6 in their last 10. Winnipeg is 4-2 in their last 10, and that's something that can't happen when they're only a couple points out of a wild card. Their last 10, if they picked it up, they probably could have been really, fighting with Calgary for that wild card spot. But Calgary is now jumping away because they've been hot recently when LA and Winnipeg have both been cold. So it's going to be a fun stretch coming down to it, especially with the deadline coming up, seeing what teams are going to make moves. I don't know what I could say about Winnipeg when it comes to making moves. They have the offense and the defense. Just the goaltending has been a little inconsistent all year, but they're both young. I would not get rid of either of them. They're both very young and very, have high potential. But LA still dealing without Johnny Quick. Peter Buda has been decent, but that offense has been slacking. Anze Kopitar no longer the
prolific
character of that team now for the offense. Now jumped over to Jeff Carter. So
that's it. That's really it.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Doughty's had an off year on the defense.
Yeah.
Alec Martinez, his production has always been middle tier in terms of defense, but he's had an off year. It's just the story of the franchise this year. Name me one other scorer on that team right now, other than Kopitar's struggles and Carter.
Yeah.
They're there. I mean, just Dustin Brown has never seemed to pan out for that team. It's just going through the motions this year.
Yeah, they really are, especially for being almost like that dynasty that
Absolutely.
we talk about with Chicago as well. But I think most of that really does have to, fall on Johnny Quick going down.
Yes.
We talk about how certain aspects of the game can affect the other aspects, how poor goaltending can lead to poor offense and defense, poor defense can lead to poor goaltending, and vice versa and all that. But now, we're going to play Back to the Future. I'm going to try and predict the future. I don't think you wrote anything down, so you're going to be going rapid fire here, but who do you think is going to end up being the point leader at the end of the year? I'll give you the rundown right now. The top three right now is McDavid, Crosby, and Brent Burns, and then I believe Backstrom and Scheifele.
Crosby.
I picked Crosby as well. He is, we talk about the years that he's had. He's missed, I believe, 9, maybe 10 games, and he's still second in the league in points and first in goals. That's unreal.
The team around him just doesn't stop.
No.
Edmonton's gone into spurts, and we've seen McDavid still be productive, but I think in the long run of the entire 82-game slate, I think having a consistent offense around Crosby, even with 9 or 10 less games, I think he'll overcome McDavid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, McDavid has that top spot right now with 68 points. Goals.
Crosby's the leader, correct? 33.
33.
Laine.
Why do you have to do this to me?
Did you pick Laine?
Yeah, because I picked him at the beginning of the year, and I'm sticking to my word. I picked him that he was going to lead the league in goals. I think it was maybe our first or second episode of Puck Chat we've ever done. I believe I picked him to lead the league in goals.
All right, I'm going Brent Burns then.
He has going Brent Burns leading the league in goals. That's a bold move, Cotton. But I'm going to pick Laine. I have him written down. He has 30 goals right now. He is second in the NHL behind Crosby with 33. And he's just one heck of a hockey player. I think that he deserves to win Rookie of the Year.
Over Matthews?
Yes.
Good.
Assists.
Backstrom.
I said McDavid. But Backstrom was... Honestly, if you were going to say McDavid, I was going to say Backstrom because I didn't want to agree on anything. But
thanks.
McDavid is... He's more of the assist man than a goal scorer. He can do it all. I think he will lead the league in assists. And goaltending, I have the same man winning the Triple Crown by wins, goals against average, and save percentage, and that is Devin Dubnyk. And I believe he'll win the Vezina this year as well. He is having a career year at 32-11-3. He has a .933 save percentage and 2.01 goals against average. Braden Holtby actually took over for goals against average from Devin Dubnyk. I think it was the other day. Devin Dubnyk was still sporting like a 1.86 goals against average.
Well, he just gave up 6 goals, I believe, against. Lord, the team is escaping me, but I know they lost 6-4. Yeah, you're right. Those one teams at 5 points
last night or 2 nights ago, something like that. No, I think it was a game. I think it was last night when Kane had a hattie, or 2 nights ago.
Are you sure? Yeah, you're right.
Patty Kane had a hattie. Hat-trick Kane. Yeah, that's my prediction that Devin Dubnyk is going to win the Vezina, and will also lead the league in wins, goals against average, and save percentage.
Cam Talbot.
Really?
He's helping my fantasy team right now.
I bet he is.
He really is.
I don't know. I can't agree with that. I'm sorry, I can't.
Well, you took the best one. Granted, you made the segment. But I'm not going to sit here and go 4-4-4-4. Agree with you. I'll go Cam Talbot. Hope he's another sexy pick, but I'm going to go with Cam, the upstart Cam.
Well, we move on to the Stadium Series now,
Yay.
Which might not even be played. Which we just looked at it.
We did just look at it.
What was it, 77 degrees in Pittsburgh right now?
I'm reading a report from postgazette.com. It is from 2 days ago, but it was touching on the upcoming weekend weather in the Pittsburgh area. And yes, it may actually be too hot for outdoor hockey.
Yeah, that's...
What would a postponement mean for this and the rest of the schedule? It's tough to postpone games so deep in the season and something so special and as a stadium series. Like, how would that affect the rest of the season if Pittsburgh and Philadelphia can't get this game in this weekend? Because yes, it's 77 degrees right now. On Wednesday it was 67. Thursday it was 70. Today it's 73 and gotten up to 77 at its highest, according to some weather. Tomorrow's only supposed to get down to 58, and per some reports from the weather watcher out there, Dan Craig, he said ideally they want it to be around 40 degrees, and tomorrow's still going to be flirting with 60.
Wow.
So, it was seen circumstances. You can always check the weather, but it's something you can't control, even when this has been planned out for months. It's just an interesting turn of events you're going to have to watch in the next, what have you, less than 24 hours before this game is supposed to be being played.
I imagine it's probably going to be a game time decision.
It's supposed to be 58 and rainy.
That's not good. Maybe without the rain, I would say maybe they could get it in, but that's going to be a tough one for Philly. Pittsburgh's going to want to... I believe Pittsburgh's undefeated in outdoor games.
It's something stupid like that.
I know they beat Buffalo in a shootout. Might have been the first Winter Classic.
I believe you're right. Yes.
2008, I think it was.
Darn you, weather.
Yeah, that's... It's been so hyped up, too. I was really looking forward to it as well.
I want to see the jerseys.
Yeah. Those jerseys looked very slick when they were released. For Pittsburgh, I didn't like the gold too much.
No.
Too much gold.
Philadelphia's all black is going to be a nice little change.
Yeah, I did like that touch. Did like it. Well, that just about wraps it up for Puck Chat here on Friday afternoon. Just about 4:40 on the East Coast. Yeah.
Ready for practice?
Ready for practice.
Going to be hitting some live tonight, and then it's time to go.
We're going to have to figure out how we're going to do these more in Florida next week. We're not going to be able to do it on the air. We might just have to put it up on YouTube.
YouTube, yeah. We're going to have to sit
down. We're going to need to talk about some, because it's going to be the trade deadline.
Yes. Yes. We fly the 2nd of March, so we're just going to be right after the deadline. We're going to have to get... We may have to move the show up.
We could maybe do it on that Wednesday afternoon.
Sounds good to me.
Trade deadline edition of Puck Chat.
Winners and losers of the trade deadline.
Do like a NHL network. Just do a show all day and break some news.
All right.
Yeah, that'd be
perfect.
something.
We'll sit by the pool.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, we wouldn't be in Florida yet. We leave Thursday night.
March 2nd. That's right. Yeah. Well, we'll figure it out. We'll keep it posted to you. Yeah. But hey, tomorrow be sure to listen in to our Boxcast. Cole and I will be on the call of the playoffs. Sullivan Center is going to be hosting games at 1 o'clock and 3:30. Medai Mavericks will be playing the 1 o'clock game versus Penn State Altoona, the number 4 seed, who beat Hilbert 80-79 on Wednesday night. And the 3:30 game will be Penn State Bradford versus LaRoche College. LaRoche College outdid... What did I say? Penn State Bradford? Did I say Penn State Bradford? I did it all the time. Penn State Barron is going to be playing LaRoche College, who beat Pitt Bradford 77-72 on Wednesday night. So the seeding has been finalized. We have the Final Four coming up tomorrow. As I said, Cole Johnson and I will be on the call starting at just before 1 o'clock. We'll hit you with a pregame for the Mavericks and the Altoona Lions. and then we'll have a quick break and hit you with some more basketball. We're going to be on the call all afternoon, so be sure to tune in if you can't make it. If you can make it, the Sullivan Center is going to be packed. So if you can't get a seat, do not fret. We're going to be on the PA system. We're going to be broadcasting live to the entire Sullivan Center. You can hear us in the cafeteria as well. Pretty fun. I'm quite excited.
You're a star, Kyle Powell. You are a star.
Thanks, Connor. I have to market myself. I'm going to be on the air. So if you have a free afternoon, you want to listen to some playoff basketball, you know where to tune into. Boxcast, hit up the Medaille College link, and you'll be able to hear us online. So with that, yeah, we're getting to 4:45 now. Nice show here, but you got to eat. You got practice soon. You're in the first group.
But don't forget about our weekly podcast as well. On Tuesday, we're talking about all things Medaille sports and worldwide sports. I almost mixed up my words. And what are we doing? What are we doing on Tuesday? Going to do the NL Central.
We are going to the NL Central, yes.
NL Central preview as well. Our 30 clubs in 6 days, whatever you want to call it. We're going to have to do one of those in Florida as well, I think.
It's probably going to be the AL Central.
Yeah. Yeah, so looking forward to that. Probably sit poolside, do a nice little podcast. So, that, I'm Connor. He's Kyle. This is Puck Chat on Beyond the Box Score, WMCB The Fuse. Have a good night and a good weekend.